All right, and welcome to episode 2 of the Rundown. We've got Andre Lovett here. Can I say Andre? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
Cool.
correct.
And he is the lead member of the Andre Lovett band, and also just a very prolific musician. Um, Andre, you're based in New Orleans. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, New Orleans. Love it.
Got it. Have you been there? Were you born and raised New Orleans, or I
No,
can't
my
remember?
dad was in the Air Force, so moved around a
Got it.
bunch. And been
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
been here
yeah.
about 7 years.
Nice. And you're
Yeah.
loving it.
Oh, I can't
There's
complain.
Yeah,
Would never
there's nothing
live anywhere
better.
else. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Um, I did want to start. You've got the voice of an angel. I think. I
Oh,
mean, I hope you know that.
thank
It's
you,
incredible.
thank you.
I'm curious if was it your voice that first got you into music? Was that kind of your first love, or was it? I'm curious where you started.
It was definitely singing. I mean, as a kid, I was always singing around the house, um, and I think I started in church choir when I was maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Um, and then just throughout childhood, I'd be in like the Nebraska Children's Choir or the Colorado Springs Children's Chorale, and just I was singing all growing up. So
Yep.
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Did you take a lot of like learnings from that? I'm curious. Like in when you're in choir, do they teach you a lot, or do you kind of just go and they just kind of like use your intuition?
it's definitely you. I mean, you definitely learn a lot. I mean, just
Yeah.
musically, and I think that's definitely the base of what I do. Is like comes from
Yeah.
that, and then over the course of growing up, you listen to different artists, and you're like, ooh, I kind of want like what you listen to. You kind of sound like a little bit. So
Got it. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And in terms of where you grew up,
hmm
um, was music always a part of your life? It sounds like it was.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, I think my dad was always singing as well around the house, and
got it.
he would sing in church as well. So
Yeah. Um, and then brothers and sisters.
yeah, my little brother, he dabbles in music. He was also in the Nebraska Children's Choir when we were younger as well.
Got it.
Um,
Got it.
and then I think he's still kind of just dabbles, nothing serious.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I met one of your brothers.
Chris.
Chris. That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a super long time ago, and I
Yeah.
haven't talked to him since. But that was through
Yeah.
a good friend, Nick Davis, and that we
Oh,
have like a
okay.
funny, hilarious picture where like I'm in it, and
Oh, that's
um,
funny.
I'm like right next to him. So kind
Yeah,
of funny.
that's great.
So yeah, in terms of your musical journey, so you were singing as a kid,
Yeah.
and then how did you start to formalize this passion?
I think in college I just started playing guitar, um, and then I always kind of wrote songs, but nothing really. I mean, I think it's a Taking Back Sunday line where he's like, "Those words at best were worse than teenage poetry." So like,
Yeah.
when you're younger writing songs, like it's not anything great, I would say. But yeah, that's what I started. I mean, would listen to pop music, and I was like, I want to write songs. And then
Right.
when I started playing guitar in college, that's what I actually started. Actually, the first song that I wrote is on our album, so back
What's
in
that one?
2003. So, by the way, so
By the way, got it.
yeah, I wrote that back
Got
in
it.
2003, and it somehow in 2018 gets recorded and with my
Amazing.
band, and now it's out
That's
there.
awesome. Yeah, it's funny how that works. Like an idea circulated for a long time, and you kind of all of a sudden it came back to you, and
Yeah,
now it's out there.
now it's there. Yeah, world
Yeah.
world to see.
Did you study formally music, or did you? Is it mostly self-taught, and you just kind of a passion that you took on your own?
The guitar is definitely just self-taught, just
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos and tabs and whatnot.
Yep.
Um, and then, but singing though, I think a lot of it came from just the choir background, kind of
Yeah.
learning what notes are which, and like trying to be
Totally.
able to hit this and harmonize with this, and
Yeah. That brings up kind of a point that I always struggle with is when you're harmonizing on the go. Is there a way to practice that, or is it? Do you just feel it out? I'm just kind of curious how you do it.
I'm.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it depends on who I'm singing with, because some people it just comes naturally,
Yep.
but I also don't sing backup that often, so if I
Yep. That
do,
makes
I
sense.
end up stealing somebody else's harmony, and I'm like, wait, hold on a second,
Yeah.
that's not my part. So
Right.
it's definitely, I think harmonizing does take practice to, especially if you're with someone new, working with someone new. It's
Yep.
gonna take a second.
Totally. Yeah. No, it's something that's like I think it just takes a lot of practice, as you say, because
Yeah,
just a feel thing, and you start to fill the grooves. But
yeah. I think a
um,
lot of times I'll try to like listen to a song that I love and just
yeah.
try to harmonize with the background on that.
Yeah.
Something that's already there, and that way, I guess, I mean, the same with everything. Repetition
Oh
gets
yeah.
you a little bit better.
For do you do any like vocal training or exercises keep you ready on the go?
No, but I should.
Well,
Yeah,
you know what? I mean, your voice is good enough where you probably don't have
thank
to,
you.
but
I mean,
the rest of
I
us,
really should. I mean, especially playing so many gigs a week, sometimes it does take a toll on my voice. Um, there was a time where we were playing 6 hour gigs Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on Friday we were also doing a 3 hour gig right after that.
holy
So it
moly.
was just like, and that's not even including the gigs we play on like Monday and Tuesday. That was just the weekend,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I learned then that I can't be doing that all the time. I had to like take a step back and
Oh, I don't even know
realize,
how you did one.
yeah, there was one day where my bass player's dad was at the gig, and he's like, "Is Andre okay?" And he's like, "Oh, he's on his ninth hour of singing today. That's why he
Jeez.
sounds like that."
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
but yeah, I definitely should. I That's one of the things where I was like, I have to take better care of my voice, because this is one, also an instrument, two, how I make my living. So I probably should take more time to do vocal warm ups and practice at home.
totally. And I mean, it's one of those things. I think you spent your childhood growing up learning and practicing, and so
Mm-hmm.
you kind of you've finessed the art already, and it's more about keeping yourself kind of ready to go and lubed up for a show. But I'm
Exactly.
thinking
Yeah.
like for me, I'm like actually just learning, not naturally gifted
Okay.
in that regard. So I'm like always taking tips, taking
Yeah.
tips. Um, but that's awesome. And then, so you picked up guitar, and then is that your kind of your main vehicle right there for writing and everything?
Yeah. I wrote most stuff on the guitar. Every once in a while, I'll get a wild hair and mess around on like GarageBand or Logic and try to come up with something on the keys, or I play a little bit of banjo, but I'm not great. So usually the
I
guitar is
I'm
where
with you on
I.
that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I see it in it. Um, so most of the things I write are on the guitar, or just I'll be out and I'll think of a song and I'll come home and like try to put it to the guitar or keyboard or something. But
Totally. And um, kind of in terms of theory, are you well versed in music theory, or is it, I
no.
feel like that's a topic that like most people like you don't really need it, but I'm always curious to hear what people
Yeah,
know
I
and what they
am
don't
not.
know.
I do once again dabble in YouTube videos and whatnot just to try to
Yeah.
get my, like I said, it is how I make my living, so I should practice more and always be learning.
Right, but a great
I
point that like somebody who's just starting out, they don't have to fret that they don't know every seventh chord, like
Yeah,
and
I
how they
mean,
fit together.
there someone played with me last night and he was just doing background guitar, and he was just like, just tell me the key of the song, and I was like, I can do that. That's something I can do. But when it comes to me letting you know, like, oh, this song is 145, I'm gonna have to think about it for a second. and you're
Yeah,
like, wait, I know the chords. I could
I
just
hear you.
spit them to you.
I hear you. Yeah.
Which is a lot of times in New Orleans, you'll hop on stage as a musician. And they're like, this is the key, this is the change, play or get off the stage. And so I've definitely been trying to learn
Yeah.
more.
I did kind of want to talk about your experience as a live musician, because that's, I think, really unique, and it sounds like that's where you make the most of your living, right? Is playing live
Yes, for
shows.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll throw up some details on how people can come find you
Oh, for
for
sure.
all, for anyone who's listening out there.
Yeah.
But so in terms of that, when did you start? When did you start playing live? I guess you could even say.
So back in 2009, I had moved out to Seattle, and I started street performing in Pike Place Market. Just I saw other people doing it, and I had my guitar with me, and I got a permit and went out there and started playing, and then I remember somebody asked me, "Man, you're really good. Can you play at my birthday party? How much do you charge?" And I was like,
That's great.
$50. I was like, I
Yeah,
had no
that's
clue.
funny.
Um, so like, I did that, and then I would hang out at these bars and restaurants, and someone would hear me play, and then like they'd be like, "Oh, can you play at my restaurant?" And it just kind of started trickling down, and then I started getting
Got it.
kind of regular gigs out in Seattle. And then I met a bunch of musicians from New Orleans while I was up in Seattle. Decided to come down here, and it was also the same kind of thing. Like someone heard me. My roommate, I think, was bartending, and she told her boss, "Oh, he plays music," and she's like, "Sing something for me," and then she's like, "You're hired next week," and I've been playing at that bar ever since. I'll be there next week, so I mean,
Wow.
it was just like kind of not, I wouldn't say who you know, but just who happens to see you,
Yeah.
and word of like from there word of mouth spreads, and you
Yeah.
get booked for other things, or like someone recommends you. Um, yeah,
It's super cool to hear, because it's kind of like you loved playing and you just kind of put yourself out there, and then
Yeah.
the universe kind of took care of you
For
a little
sure,
bit,
yeah,
and just kind of moved you in the direction.
out street performing, and from the streets to playing
Now
in
you're
clubs
here.
and bars. So.
Yeah, hitting the clubs. In terms of just starting, like, do you need a permit everywhere to street perform? Is that typically how it works?
So when I started in Seattle, in Pike Place Market, which is probably the main spot for people to busk or street perform, it was a $30 a year permit, and you just
Got
go
it.
fill out the forms, they hand you your permit, you can go start performing. Um, Here in New Orleans, there's no permits for like on the street, but they do block off like a whole section of Royal Street where it's you can play anywhere, but the polite thing to do is be like at least a block away from the other performers. But yeah, I mean, so
Yeah,
there's no permits here, but
that's pretty cool.
it's
It's kind of,
sometimes a free for all. But certain people get their spots, like they're respected, and
yeah.
yeah. So it was very interesting to realize in Seattle and then also here how I won't say territorial people are, but like some spots are better than others to play at.
Yeah.
So I mean, I remember when I first moved here, my roommate, their band, like there were 6 people in the band. The first person would go out to the spot at 2 a.m. Someone would come relieve them, and then like everybody would take turns waiting for their spot. So at 10 a.m., they would be the ones to have it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's only for certain spots, but like
Yeah.
it's trying to make
So
the
it
money.
really, yeah. So it really matters your spot location in terms of how much money you'll make. Like, it sounds like a few really make a difference.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes the further down you get, like there's not going to be. I mean, it's the more high traffic areas. It was the same in Seattle. Like
Yeah.
there was like 4 or 5 different spots, like in front of the original Starbucks, or where they throw the fish, or were like the spots where there's going to be the most people, where you get make the most money.
Yeah. So how'd you go about building your band? It sounds like you met them in Seattle and then continued
I actually
on.
met my band here.
Okay, got
In
it.
Seattle, I was mostly playing solo. I did a little bit with my friend Jenny, who was a fiddle player. So we played together for a while, and then I had another friend, Missy. Her and I sang together for a while, just as a duo.
Yep.
And then, I mean, every once in a while, I just have like friends play with me.
Hmm.
When I moved here, I was playing mostly solo when I first got here, and then the bands would, or the bars would be like, "Oh, if you have a band, you could have this slot instead of
Oh.
the early slot." So I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, let me try to find people," and then it kind of, I mean, bounces around. I mean, there's so many great musicians in New Orleans, um, that almost anybody can play your set for the most part. Especially
Yeah.
if you're like a jazz cat, there's
Yeah.
20 different jazz drummers you could call I mean, I remember one time I needed a drummer. I literally called 24 different people, and the show turned out fine. Once I finally got someone. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, putting my band together was just kind of, the current band I have is me, Matt Gibson on bass, Nat Lawrence on keys, and Fernando Lima on drums. And it was just like me and Matt had always wanted to play bass with me, and he just kept like, whenever you need a bass player, whenever you need a bass player. And then finally I needed a bass player, and
Yeah.
then he was like, oh man, I know this drummer. He's been playing with me in this other band. And then Fernando joined, and then when we needed a keyboard player, we're like, oh, we know this awesome dude, Nat, and it just kind of. So I think that was
Amazing.
the four of us for the first time playing all together was Halloween 2017 or 18, one of those two. COVID, you know. It's
Yeah. I
one of
know.
the one of those two. So it's been a while. Um,
Yeah.
it's been great.
Do you guys play a lot of covers, a lot of originals, a little bit of a mix of both? How do you put your set list
Um,
together?
it depends on. There's rarely a set list.
Got it.
The only time we have a set list is if we're playing a festival. And
Got it.
even then, we played a festival 2 weekends ago, 3 weekends ago, and I was like, Audible, we're not doing that song. We're gonna do this song
Yeah.
instead.
That's great.
Um, but usually we go about our sets just like we do covers if we're playing in on Frenchman Street or wherever, because that's what the tourists want to hear. They want to hear songs they know, but because there's a lot of tourists that have seen me, but they always saw you play 3 years ago. Can you play Heartbreak and Cocaine? So we
Yeah.
do get requests for original stuff a lot too. So
Got
like
it.
once we get the crowd going, that's when I'll look around. Like I think I'm very good at reading the room to see what song to play next. Whether it's like these crowds kind of young. What if I hit them with one of the hip hop covers,
Yeah.
and then they get all into it, and then I'm like, all
Right.
right. So once you figure out like where the crowd's at, that's how you can. That's where we start pulling our set from. So I'm like, all right, we're
Got
gonna
it.
hit them with these three in a row, and then we're gonna like slow it down and hit them with Prince or something like Purple
Yeah.
Rain. Um,
I
so
love that.
so it's
I love
really
that.
just about feeling the room. We do have certain songs that we play like always together, like right after another. We do a lot of
Hmm.
mashups, and then like once we have the attention of the crowd, is when we'll hit them with, oh, this is the original song, and then they you have their attention. They'll if they seem to dig it, y'all want to hear another one, and then we'll hit them, go back into it with the covers. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I really love that answer because it's kind of cool. I mean, you're really taking each experience is unique. So when you go to one of your shows, like it's all like
It
a
will never
connection
be the
between
same.
you and the audience. Yeah,
It will never be.
that's
So like
awesome.
somebody will
Yeah,
ask, "I saw you play last week. Can you play this song?" And I'm like, "We'll get there.
yeah,
We're not there. Nobody's ready for it right now except for you, which I appreciate. But we will.
yeah,
I promise you, we'll get there." So
yeah,
it's. I mean, I'm definitely all about trying to read the room to make sure everybody's having fun. And
yeah.
if they're not having fun, they'll leave, and the people that are having fun will stay, and then more people will come. I mean,
Yep.
it's a process.
I think it's very smart too because no matter what, like even if your original is the best song in the world, people are just going to want to hear what they're familiar with to start, especially if they don't
Yeah,
know you. And then, so you build them up, you play what you know, what they know,
yeah,
and then you kind of work in your originals when people are
yeah,
starting to become familiar with your sound. So it's kind of cool.
for sure. I mean, if we're doing a show like a showcase with another band, or where we're only playing a 45-minute set or an hour set, we'll do all originals. But
Yep.
if we're doing like a 3 hour gig, we're gonna do like a mix up kind of thing. It just depends on the venue and the crowd we're going like that we're playing for.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about being a band that nobody knows about? What's something that's just like you're like, I wish people knew this.
Being a band or being the band leader.
Either one, whatever comes to mind.
Um, hardest part about being a band leader is there's so many answers. When two people in the band aren't vibing, and you can feel it behind you, and you're like, "Don't worry." Like if I say it's fine, it's fine. Just keep playing.
Yeah.
Nobody like you don't think that anybody notices, but they're definitely like, "Why are they arguing back there?"
Yeah.
Um, and then also just like someone being like, "Oh, I can't play tonight," 2 hours before the gig, and you're like,
Oh.
"Oh, well, did you find a replacement, or do I need to like,
Yeah.
do I need to sit here on the like texting 24 drummers to till I
Yeah.
find somebody?"
Oh.
Um, I mean, as it, I don't. The hardest about being a band is just vibe. I mean, trying to get the vibe right.
Yeah.
And I think I was lucky to get the vibe right pretty quickly.
Yeah. I
It's yeah. I'll go ahead.
no no no. I was just gonna.
Um, it's very fun when I can like. There's times where I'll do a gig with just me, my drummer, and my keyboard player, and just looking over at them, vibing with each other, and they know exactly what the other person is thinking to do next. Or if I get done playing a song and I'll look at my keyboard player and be like, let's do this song next, or he'll say let's do this song next, and I was like, that's exactly what I was gonna play. Like just feeling like we have like the same thoughts and energy is very cool. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I love I love watching my band play, especially when Fernando and the keyboard player like Nat get in the zone together. It's just like, oh my god, this is killer. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's real
Amazing.
fun.
That's awesome. Um. Yeah. No. I think like I asked that question because I want people that are starting a band, to hear tips, but I also wanted to hear. I mean, it's so much positive. So
Yeah, no,
I'm
just
glad you
get.
you dove into that.
It's really about the vibe.
Yeah. um your guys' vibe, it sounds like you do a little bit of everything in
For
terms
sure.
of what you're able to do. Is there anything that you stick to in terms of style or
I mean, the first album that we did was pretty much just songs that were all songs I wrote, acoustic guitar. So we
hmm
just had to find a way to make them like I mean, I gave the boys creative. I was like, do what you want on this album. I was like, you know how we play this live. If you want to do something different in the studio, I think because my keyboard player lives across the street or around the corner from the studio at the time. I think he would go in without us. So many times he'd be like, "Hey Eric, can I change this patch?" And it'd be like 20 seconds. And so I gave them. I was like, "Y'all do what you want. If I don't like it, I'm gonna tell them to take it out."
Yeah.
But for the most part, I just let them. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're good musicians, so.
Yep. It's great.
Um,
Everyone has their kind of creative expression.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
my drummer's from Brazil, so he has like a very Latin flair to his drumming, and my bass player's from St. Louis, so he has like a kind of bluesy St. Louis vibe, and my keyboard player went to jazz school, but he's not always too jazzy. But he can be if he wants to, but he gets it. So
Yeah.
he like I said, he knows when to play weird, like something weird, and when not to.
Got it.
Which is, I like, it's. I think that's like one of the things about being a band leader. Is sometimes, as much as it is your band and your name's on it, you gotta let them do what they want. Otherwise, why would they want to play for you? You know,
Right.
or
Totally.
with you.
Yeah. It's a mutual thing, like
Yeah,
they love being a part of it, but they also are great musicians in their own right and
yeah.
need that space. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, so that being said, the first album was just me on acoustic, so it was kind of more like folk pop, I would say, with like a little bit of soul thrown in there. I think the next album that is going to be a little bit more on the R&B pop side, but still
Got
writing.
it.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Love
We'll
it.
see where it goes.
It's an ongoing thing, would you say that you're writing something most weeks, or how do you approach it?
You never know. I mean,
Yeah.
it just it's one of those when it hit. I don't ever. Maybe I should, but I never try to sit down and be like, "Let me write for an hour," because then I'm just gonna be there frustrated that I didn't write anything that entire
Yeah.
hour, or I wrote 2 lines. Whereas like, if I'm out at a bar or restaurant, and like someone will say something, and I was like, "Hold on, what'd you just say?" And I'm like, "That's a line in a song," and I'll go from there. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a much easier way for me to write, or like I'll just think of something and
Yeah. That inspiration strikes.
yeah,
And then
that's
you're traveling
yeah.
down the path.
Exactly.
I am curious, now that we're in this digital age and everyone's trying to promote themselves, like what's that been like in terms of marketing yourself? I know it sounds like you're able to do it mostly in person via word of mouth, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you?
It's tough because like, yes, you need to have an Instagram. Yes, you need to be posting on Facebook. Yes, you need to be doing. I should be on TikTok, but
Mhm.
also I'm not gonna make a post about every single show I play because
Yeah.
they're weekly. I'll make one calendar. You can look at it. They're all this. I mean, you can come back and see me whenever, and
Right.
it's nice because when you're in a place like New Orleans where there's a place like Frenchman Street, there's going to be 1,000 tourists every time you play walking up and down the street. So I don't have to like promote, but I do promote, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. So like
Totally.
I'll put the once a month calendar on the Instagram. If somebody that saw me play a long time ago DMs our Facebook page, I'll like send them the calendar. Here's where we're playing. I don't know when you're gonna be in town. This is May or June, July, whatever. So it is nice in that respect that because it's New Orleans and there will be people here, I don't have to like hit up my friends. Hey, playing at the Apple Barrel tomorrow. Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, I have recently started putting like flyers at the places that I play all the time, just to have
Yeah.
like in the bathroom here every Wednesday, here Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
so that if you're there at the beginning of the week, and you're like, oh wait, I think I saw that guy last time I was in town. Don't come back. And speaking of, I need to do that today. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, no, I'm always curious because it's like it's a whole new world out there with marketing and digital marketing, and it sounds like a lot of labels aren't really. I was doing a podcast, another episode, and they were talking about how labels aren't necessarily. They used to go and attend live shows and like get new people. Now they just want you to come with a built-in audience essentially before they're signing.
Yeah,
So it's all kinds
like
of crazy
it's
stuff.
like if you don't. I mean, there's definitely places where it's like if you don't have 10,000 followers on Instagram, like why would we book you?
Right, which is so
Like
crazy.
type,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those things where you do need like a online. You have to have an online presence these days to
Yeah.
be big, at least.
Yeah, and it's just a very viable way. It's like it's not the only way, but it seems to be more and more like, all right, now everyone's building these things.
Yeah.
You're averse to TikTok, you say, so far?
I'm just not on TikTok. I mean,
Yeah.
I watch TikToks. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. I, for one, think you would actually probably do really well on there. But
Probably.
I also understand that it's like a whole nother thing to do. It's like you're already
That part.
playing,
That part.
how many live shows you're doing, and then it's like a whole nother
like
thing.
at least
But
5 a week, and then
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's just like, there's a lot to do as a musician. Like you're leading a band and organizing that, and then you're getting your live shows booked and you're playing your shows, and then you're also kind of marketing yourself and trying to, there's a lot of things that are involved in it. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, this morning I had to go through all my texts and be like, all right, this drummer's playing all these Mondays, this drummer's playing these Fridays, this keyboard player, like my keyboard player is playing Monday and these Fridays, but not Saturday, and like be like, all right, who do I need for these other dates?
Yeah.
So it's
Crazy
always
stuff,
a
but
process. Yeah.
you're doing it well. You're doing it well.
I'm trying.
Yeah. So I think there's some stat about, how few musicians have even made it as far as you've made it. So you're probably in like 99 percentile, which might seem crazy to you, but it's pretty cool.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. And you're doing what you love, which is cool.
Exactly.
I'll end it with one last question. Is what's the best advice or a tip that you'd give a musician who's just starting out?
It sounds so cheesy, but don't stop. Like
Cheesy, yeah. There you go.
don't stop is the only thing I could say. I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, like, what's the point? Like, you gotta trust that you know what you're doing and trust that you are good. Like, and if
Love
somebody doesn't like you, there's 10 other people that do. For every one person that haters gonna hate, if you don't have any haters, you're doing something wrong. So, if there's one person that doesn't like you, I guarantee there's 10 that do. There's no way everybody doesn't like you. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's
For
great.
sure.
Great insight. Cool.
Thank you.
Well, I will wrap it up with a couple, the last couple challenges. And so I'll sort of explain how this works. So the first one's called the 30-second rundown. So I have rapid fire cues. They're questions. They're kind of like this or that questions. And we got 30 seconds on the clock, and we're going to try to see if you can get to 10. So that'll make it high stakes, which, amps the viewers up.
Yeah.
So, and then if you get to 10, the deal is I'll play one of your songs from Spotify just in the background of this, so that'll get some extra love, and every time somebody watches it, it'll get a stream. So
sounds good.
that will be the deal. I'm gonna put 30 seconds on the clock. I'll tell you when.
All right, let's go.
And get ready. All right, let's see. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, ready? Go. Home cooking or takeout?
Home cooking.
First album you ever bought?
Oh Lord, Boys to Men. Oh,
How old were you when you wrote your first song?
like 12.
Formal
No,
or casual?
7. Formal.
For
Always. Always.
instrument you wish you could play?
Keyboard.
Weights or cardio?
Weights.
Favorite park?
Park. Jackson Square.
Headphones or speakers?
Headphones.
Oh, we got time. How far did we make? I think we made it to 8. We made it to 8. So not
Close.
bad. Nobody's made it
Close.
so far. So you're not the only one.
Very
I might need to
close.
adjust the parameters, but
Okay.
don't worry. We've got 2 more challenges for your songs to
Alright.
air. So
Sounds good.
so the next challenges are what we call like 60-second ponderings. So
Okay.
they're supposed to be super fun. They're silly. They're different. The only goal, there is no right or wrong answer. The only goal is that you just kind of keep talking
Okay.
for the whole 60 seconds. And if you do that, your song will be playing in the background the whole time. So it'll get streams and extra love and things. And it's typically kind of funny,
Alright, sounds good.
the responses. So I'm going to put 60 seconds on.
Okay.
And if you make it through, you can pass. But then if you
Okay.
pass, then you don't get the opportunity.
Alright.
But it's normally pretty fun. And again, no right or wrong. Just fire away. Whatever comes to mind, just keep talking. And the 60 seconds will be up before you know it. So ready for the first
Alright.
one?
Yeah.
Do people drink or eat soup?
It depends on the type of soup, right? I mean, if it's just like a cream-based soup or like a miso you're just gonna drink. But if you're eating like a broccoli cheddar or a clam chowder like with stuff in it, you're gonna be chewing and like you can't. I mean, I guess you can. It depends on the soup. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's eat. Sometimes it's drink. If it's just like a pho, you're gonna be eating the noodles, but you're gonna be like sipping the broth. If it's a ramen, same thing. You're gonna be like eating all the stuff out of the ramen. You got the egg, you got the noodles, you got the chicken or the pork or the beef or the shrimp or I don't know, whatever you like in your ramen, and then you're gonna drink that broth
And
because
time.
it's like it's
Nailed it.
both. Also,
Love
Yeah.
it. Love
Both.
it. That's great. All right, we got one more of those.
Sounds good.
And then you'll be on your way.
Sounds good.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You suspect that your new boss is secretly a vampire. What would you do?
My new boss is a vampire. What am I doing? I'm gonna be avoiding him at all costs for the most part. I mean, not taking. I mean, is he never there during the day? Is that how we know this? Aren't vampires out at night? I don't know. Is this a day job, night job? Like, where is the boss this whole time? Like, if it's a day job, whatever. He's not gonna be there. I mean, that actually sounds kind of fun because you can do whatever you want during the day if your boss isn't there. I mean, he doesn't know what I'm doing at work. I could be working. I could be slacking off. I could be on Instagram, TikTok all day. You know, I mean, if your boss isn't there. But for the most part, I would just avoid him. If he's there, or if it's a night job, like, he's lurking in the background. Is he behind you? Also, what's wrong with vampires? I mean, are they that
And
bad?
time.
Alright.
Love it. That's hilarious. We'll see if that maybe you'll go viral with your
Who
response. Who knows?
knows?
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Well, cool. Well, thanks for jumping on.
Thank you for having me. I
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
it.
I mean, I love your stuff. I was listening to it again last night.
Thank you.
That's a fun one.
That music video was very fun to shoot.
Yeah, that looked like a good time.
Yeah. Rest in peace,
yeah.
Terry Gibson Jr. The big
Got
homie.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last time I saw him was filming that video. But
Wow. What was his
Still-
role?
he plays trumpet. He's in the background of a lot
Got
of
it.
stuff. But
Got it.
yeah.
Oh, well,
Much love to him and his family.
yeah.
All love.
There you go.
So
And that'll be a little memento that you guys have together, which is
course.
good
yeah.
for longevity.
Of course.
Cool. And then I'll just keep you posted. We'll get it it'll go up on YouTube, up on Instagram, TikTok, and then I'm gonna cut it up into lots of different chunks
Yeah. For sure.
that work well on like Insta and TikTok. So you'll see like it'll be like, you know, like a quick tip from Andre on like starting a band or whatever it was that we
Yeah.
talked about.
Cool.
So, and if you wake up in the middle of the night and you think of something, you're just like, I really don't want that in there, let me know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's fine. I don't think I
yeah, but
swore, so my parents can watch it. Also,
yeah,
being very careful. I don't know how
good,
you're on
good.
it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, appreciate you and
Yeah, thank you so much
have a
for
good
having
one.
me.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
you
man.
as well.
And good luck on your sets, and we'll promote that too, and just see if
Appreciate it. Yeah.
some extra stuff comes with it. Cool.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right. See you
Have a good
later.
one. Bye.